Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to day 17 of 30 Days of Sketches. And today's sketch is uh, created by Sean Styles Lar. I hope I said that right. Especially for 30 days of sketches. So this is an exclusive sketch, and I had a lot of fun with this one. So I pulled out some old October afternoon daily flash paper. It is from the apple cider collection, so it's a kind of very fallish, and look at that, it's from 2013. I didn't ever have a lot of October afternoon, but I think I still have some. I think it's Robot Man, or no, Rocket Man, and then I had a little bit of this one. I don't think I had much else. So I decided I really wanted to use this really fall floral paper because it kind of reminds me of a giraffe. I know it's a floral. I know it's not giraffe paper, but it kind of reads like it. And it's the perfect paper for these photos of Noah and my daughter and her husband feeding the giraffes. And Noah's shirt is that turquoise color that's in that paper. So I don't know. I could not find a better paper. I mean, there wasn't a better paper in my stash. This was like the perfect paper. By the time everything's done, sadly, a lot of it gets covered up, but you still see enough of it to get the idea, and I really like the way that this actually ends up turning out. So the blue paper is a grid paper, and I just went ahead and obviously matted my photos onto it. My photos actually came with the white around it because I print with a border on my selfie. I usually cut them and leave the white around it. And I am at a retreat, and I don't have circle punches, and I don't have my silhouette or anything. So I'm going old school, and I borrowed somebody's Creative Memories circle cutters, and I haven't used these in, I can't even tell you how long. So I'm using the guide there. I want a circle that is going to go around that square photo of Noah and his parents. And I want the corners of the photo to be inside the circle. So I'm trying to decide which paper to use and which one of the cutters to use. So the paper that I am using is right there from Paige Evans' Bungalow Lane, and at least I think it was Bungalow Lane, and it really goes well with the paper that is from October Afternoon because it's got that same kind of brownish color in it, but then the zigzag is kind of pinkish, and the paper from October Afternoon has a pink flower in it as well. So it worked very well, and I'm really happy with the way that that turned out. I also used the circle cutter to cut the two photos that are in the upper right hand corner. Sadly, those don't make it on the layout. I don't know what it is, but I did not like the way that they looked, and so I just vetoed them. Not going to have any circle photos up in that corner. It is what it is. I don't know if it was because the photos were cut into circles or what, but I just didn't like it. So I kind of take it in a little bit of a different direction than using any other circles on this layout, other than that big one that's around that square photo. So then I decided I needed a little bit of a white border between the blue and the brown zigzag paper. And so I'm layering that up. I do want a little bit of that brown paper sticking out of each side. Because if you look at the sketch, it has what looks like two columns, a column on either side of the circle where the title is. That's what I'm trying to create right now with that brown zigzag. But then I also felt like I needed it on the inside of the layout where the two pages meet together. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get them all to connect up. And I didn't want to waste a lot of the paper, so I just cut it into strips and tucked it under. And I'm liking the way that that is looking. I just need to figure out the width of those ones before I cut the one that is on the far left-hand side, because that one's not tucked under anything. So I really have to be aware of the width that I want to cut it prior to cutting it, because there's no way to hide it if I cut it too small or too big or whatever. Tucking them under the where the photos are, it really didn't need to be as wide as it was, and I didn't really have to measure because obviously I can kind of like slide it in and out a little bit. I've got some wiggle room, but like I said, this other piece is not going to have a lot of wiggle room. Um, you might be wondering what I'm doing there. I'm trying to get the zigzag paper lined up in the right spot, but I already had adhesive on the back of my photos, so I just flipped it over to kind of give me a like a good estimate of where the photos were going to be and how far out I needed that brown paper. So there I am. I'm measuring how wide I need that extra strip to be, and I went ahead and cut it, and then I'm going to just put it on the other side of the circle. I want the circle to tuck under it, and I was actually able to line up the pattern very well, so it looks like the circle and those columns are actually almost one sheet of paper, and all actually connected to each other. So I was actually pretty surprised and happy with the way that turned out. I am going to cut another larger circle in white to create a white mat around that brown piece. But at this point, I hadn't decided to do that yet. So, spoiler alert, that's going to happen in just a few moments. I'm working on trying to figure out the horizontal stripe up in that upper right-hand corner. And this is where I go, you know what, I just don't like these two little circles here. They just were not making me happy. So I let them kind of sit there while I decided what I was going to do, and while I decided to cut the larger white circle to go behind the title photo. I'm going to call it the title photo. It's the photo where the title is also at. I guess the photo is actually a little bit more special than the other photos because it's got all three of them and they're looking at the camera, but it's not a title page or anything. So I'm liking how this looks because it still looks like the brown paper lines up with those two sidebars, and so I like the way that looks. But the white gave it a little bit of pop and a little bit of, it almost looks like it has a little bit of dimension to it. So that made me a lot happier. And now I'm just working on finding another piece of paper here that I want in this upper right hand corner, and that is the one that is going to do it. I like how that looks. It's got that pink background, but it's got lots of little orange dots on it, and it works really well for this layout. So I'm pretty happy with the way that it's coming together so far, especially once I decided to just get rid of those two circle photos. Now I cut two strips out of that same paper that I used in the upper right hand corner, and I'm going to use them on either side of the photo, much like the sketch has. It has like these two little sidebars on the photo, and I like the way that looks, but I wasn't really sure how long to cut them. And so once I glue them down, I'm going to take my tiny scissors and cut the excess off, following the line of the circle, so it looks like they just are part of it. I don't really want them like overlapping. And in order to make them like straight and have the same amount of reveal on either side of the photograph, I lined up the inside of each paper with the white of the matting. So if that makes sense, that way I have a good straight line down either side. Now I did pull out we bought a zoo paper and stickers from PhotoPlay, and I did end up using a couple of pieces from the sticker sheet. I didn't use any of the paper off of it. I think I'm going to use that on a different layout, but I did like this piece that says "A Day at the Zoo," and the little piece underneath it says giraffes, I think. And then I like that tag that said a day at the zoo with the giraffe on it. And then I pulled out my Altenew tropical leaf dies. There is one that just says leaf dies. One set is leaf dies and the other set is tropical leaf dies. I will link those down below for you, or list them down below for you so that you can check them out. But they are really awesome dies that you get. I think there's like 13 dies in each set maybe. but they're all different kinds of leaves and they're really fun. And so I decided to start pulling in some papers that really played off of the colors in the background paper. And I didn't have a lot of that burgundy color. I just had these two sheets that had a little strip on it. So I cut as much as I could out of that. Then I cut some black, and I cut out of this polka dot paper, but I wanted it a little darker than it was, so I rubbed some more brown ink on it. I didn't need full coverage because with leaves they're not necessarily all solid colors, but I wanted them a little darker to bring out the darker tones. And I really love the way that this looks. I even cut some of the blue and some of the pink. One of those papers had pink on it as well, so I cut some pink as well. And I'm just layering them up behind this giraffe tag. At this point, I knew I didn't really want to center the tag. I thought I was going to put something else over there. And I am fully aware that it's not centered, and I will be adding to it as we go along, and it will be, it'll look like it is supposed to be that way. Right now, it looks like it's just off center, and I recognize that it looks that way at the present time, but I wanted to get all of the work with the leaves done before I addressed that. So now I'm playing around to see if I have enough leaves for the area around the photograph over here. And I do end up having to cut several more leaves because I am going to go and have leaves coming out the entire top and the entire bottom of that area over on the left-hand side. So that takes me a little bit of time. I did not make you sit through watching me cut all of the leaves because there was not really, it's not, it's a long process basically. And it takes a while, and it's not very exciting viewing. So I was trying to play around with how I want these leaves tucked in, or if I want them kind of later on the top. But in the end of the day, I decided to tuck them in as I am doing right now. And I really like the way that it looks. I love that you get such a good variety of types of leaves. Some are really thin, some are really almost like skeleton leaves, but others are more full with like little holes in them or chunks cut out of them. There's one that's like a half leaf. So they're really fun. And I did invest in both sets because I couldn't decide between the two, and I'm so happy that I got both sets, and I've used them on multiple layouts. You can't go wrong with foliage, leaves, and flowers because they're very versatile. You know, you really basically can cut them in a variety of colors to kind of get your mood across, or the season to, you know, help accentuate the season. So just going to keep layering these up. I'm just using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive with a little liquid glue and tucking them under. I want a little bit of the pink in there and a little bit of the blue, but I don't want it to be super bold. It's very subtle, and that's why I cut the pink and the blue in the leaves that have like less surface area, if you will. And I love the way that it's coming together. I know it seems kind of a little bit of a different take on the sketch, but you really do get the entire, like, you can look at it and know that it is the sketch. It's undeniable that it is the sketch, but I went a completely different direction with my embellishments. And I think that's a really fun thing to do with sketches. You know, you can look at it and say those are circles. You could use hearts. You could use anything. You could use hexagons, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I don't leave a ton of room for journaling on here, which is okay because I do have several photos from this day and I don't need to put a ton of journaling. My daughter will probably write a little bit on there, but she has tiny handwriting, so it won't be like I need a huge space for it. And I might add a few word strips underneath that title page, or the title circle there. Just some little phrase, white word strips that she can write on if she needs it. She may not actually need it because there's not a whole lot to say. I do have some video for this, so I might add a QR code as well if I can get the video from her. So that is it. I hope that you enjoyed this layout. If you have questions or comments, you can leave those down below. And if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up button, I would really appreciate it. You can see there I did add a tag that says where the wild things are, and that kind of offset the entire tag and everything, so it looks like it's supposed to be that way. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Bye-bye.